Hi, this is Dr. Justin here from Renew Body Sculpt. We'll be going over the patient ebook today, kind of outlining the whole program. If you forget any information that you received in your consultation, you'll be able to review this at your own leisure. So first step, what's actually happening in your body when the procedure is occurring? Well, we have our fat cell here, which is the pesky little guy in certain spots of our body that we're trying to knock down a little bit. We're using specific frequencies to pull that fat cell, to mobilize it, to pull it out of the fat cell into the lymphatic system where it can eventually make its way to get burned up by the mitochondria for fuel, for energy essentially. You can see this is a dual wavelength. The 635 nanometer frequency is peer-reviewed by research to help pull fat, to help shrink that fat cell. The 805 nanometer frequency is shown to help tighten and stimulate elastin and tighten the collagen on the skin. So the first step is really mobilizing and pulling the fat out. The next step is we're trying to enhance the metabolism using sustainable techniques that we've developed just from being very knowledgeable about nutrition and exercise and diet and lifestyle to help enhance your body's ability to burn fat for fuel. So we're really encompassing a full course of treatment because we know once that fat is mobilized by the Lipo-light, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get burnt. I mean, if we go and sit down on the couch and eat potato chips, we know that that fat will eventually make its way back into the fat cell. So we want to ensure optimal success. So we'll go over what this means in the second half of the video. But essentially, we're going to increase the uptick of metabolism and increase the body's ability to burn this fat for fuel. And again, we're dumping about 800 calories of fat over a 1 to 2 day period, just to make sure that's clear. Again, inflammation is our enemy. Think of inflammation as fire in the body. When the body is on fire, we have to produce this hormone called cortisol to act like water to put the fire out. But when inflammation is out of control, so is this hormone cortisol. And cortisol has a tendency to put on fat, especially in the midsection, but also eats up muscle. So if you're one of those people with that flabby spare tire or under the arms is really flabby or by the hamstrings or by the quad area is flabby, usually cortisol is an issue. It's out of balance. So we want to do as much as we possibly can with the program, with the Lipo-light, but also using diet to help knock down that inflammation naturally. And again, some supplements can be helpful. Again, they can be beneficial for helping to burn fat, helping with sweet cravings. We have some that are a rub-on product that activates specific enzymes in the skin cell to help the fat become burnt more efficiently. And we have some that can be helpful just for providing raw material for collagen that is basically makes up the skin. We also have the whole body vibration, which is an excellent technology, essentially created by NASA in the 1960s, the Russians' version of NASA, and it was designed to help keep muscle mass on the astronauts while they're in space. So we use it essentially for similar reasons, to help with muscle tone, to help with skin tightening, and to help with fat mobilization in the lymphatic system. So you can see we're literally shrinking that fat cell. We're taking that fat cell from being a grape and shrinking it all the way down to being a raisin. And when that fat dumps out, we are burning it for fuel. So one of the biggest things we really want to be careful of is inflammation. We already alluded to that. When we are inflamed or eating inflammatory foods, our blood sugar tends to not be so stable. It does this little roller coaster ride here, and at the top of the roller coaster, we're making a whole bunch of insulin, and at the bottom, a whole bunch of cortisol. Insulin is driving fat storing, while the cortisol is decreasing muscle mass, increasing cellulite, and again, both are weakening our metabolism over time. So our goal is, when we go inside of our fat cell to look and see what's going on, what you're going to notice is we are making insulin and cortisol out of balance, which is driving our fat calories to our fat cell. And over time, you're going to see an accumulation of fat in the fat cell, and we're also going to get tired at the same time. Because if the calories aren't going to our energy system for fuel, then they are going and they're being stored instead. So our mitochondria doesn't have access to this, so we become tired. I mean, think about it. How many times have you said, I feel fat and great? It doesn't really happen that way because the fuel is being diverted to storage, not to actual burning. So again, the anti-inflammatory diet approach really is the best. So all the foods we're recommending are anti-inflammatory, and that's why they help the metabolism function optimally. So you can see we have our fat burning zone, we have our blood sugar here, and our goal is to be eating anti-inflammatory foods every 3 to 5 hours, especially at breakfast time, and this really helps increase mood, energy, allows us to burn more fat for fuel. And then when we go inside of our body, we're making more fat-burning hormones such as glucagon and hormone-sensitive lipase and lipoprotein lipase and epinephrine. These are driving our fat calories to our mitochondria where they can get burnt up. You can see they're not being diverted to storage because the body is saying, hey, we need to burn this now. We're getting supplies of good calories every 3 to 5 hours. There's no reason to have to worry about storing it. And the body is just more apt to burn that for energy, which is the overall goal. And you can see increase in energy in a smaller fat cell to boot. Now, patients typically ask, well, how does the Lipo-light work with this whole equation here? Well, typically we know there are those stubborn areas on our body that no matter what we do, diet, lifestyle, exercise-wise, it's just really hard to tap into it. So we use the Lipo-light as an ability to spot treat, to mobilize more fat maybe from that tummy or from those hips or legs. So we can mobilize that more fat. We turn on the right pathways by doing the anti-inflammatory things I'm talking about, and that's going to drive fat in the right direction so it can be burnt up. And again, if we don't do the right things, it will go down here. So that's why we created this whole instructional guide and the members area of the website to provide information so we are driving those fat cells in the right direction. And more energy in a smaller fat cell is the ultimate goal. Now, patients complain of cellulite. So what is cellulite? Well, typically we have the outside part of the skin right here, which is the dermis. When the dermis becomes weak and slack, the fat cells underneath poke through and create that lumpy, bumpy appearance we know as cellulite. So we use whole body vibration, collagen support, and the Lipo-light to help stimulate and tighten that outside part of the skin. Also, specific resistance training exercise, specific, not cardio, not aerobic stuff a lot of times, specific exercises to help tighten the muscle. When the muscle is tightened, it pulls on these fibrous bands and literally pulls the slack right out of the skin, which is the most important thing, and it really pulls out that cellulite appearance. But there are things we can do to help improve that, not just with the Lipo-light, but other things as well. So kind of summarizing everything here, it's really going to be a combination of the Lipo-light and an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. This is really going to help boost up metabolism and increase muscle. This will help boost up fat burning and decrease fat in inches. And sometimes off the bat, because we are putting muscle mass on, muscle does weigh about twice as much as fat, so it is possible to lose inches and at the same time have the weight somewhat stable in the beginning because we are putting on muscle. So just keep that in mind. Hi, this is Dr. Justin back for part 2. So going over the ebook, you can log into the members area. Again, renewbodysculpt.com. Click on the members area in the top right, and the password is renew, all lowercase. Now when you log into the book here, you're going to see kind of my background here. So we do a lot in our clinic with chronic pain issues, joint issues, head, back. We see a lot of people with just chronic lingering issues and trying to also perform well and prevent issues from happening. We see a lot on the functional medicine side, whether it be thyroid issues, female hormone balancing, depression, fatigue, weight gain. And again, the underlying factors for all these conditions is inflammation, no matter what it is. And we always like to talk about these issues because inflammation, again, we make that hormone called cortisol to help kind of act as the water to put out the fire, so to speak. So if inflammation is out of control, we want to make sure that it's at least being looked at and addressed so we can ensure long-term results for our patients. And again, the big issue is when we're inflamed, it's the slow metabolism that's driving. And then we know as we get older, it's by observation, we tend to see metabolism decrease, not increase. And all metabolism really means just our body's ability to burn fat for fuel efficiently. And that's our goal, to enhance that for all of our patients. So again, the device we're using is safe. There's no pain, no bruising, no recovery time, no medication, and no dangerous side effects. We've seen lots of patients that have already come in doing cosmetic procedures that have scarring or numbness or tingling. And just to give everyone a sense of security, there is none of that during this protocol. And again, a couple different options and scenarios, good, better, and best. Patients always typically do good when they come in. Though some may just do the treatment and nothing else. And again, this device, it's not magic, so weight will eventually come back if you don't make any other changes to your life outside of that. You will get some reduction for a while, just like you would any cosmetic procedure. But again, the tide does come back in. Patients do better when they make some dietary changes along with the whole program. they lose more inches and they keep the weight off as well. They do best when they add in the exercise and supplements. They'll lose more inches, and again, we're able to enhance our metabolism. Again, there are some patients that may have an underlying thyroid issue or female hormone or infection that may prevent them from getting optimal results, but nearly everyone can see results for sure. And again, how we're different from liposuction or an invasive cosmetic procedure is a lot of the other things we mentioned is you cannot fix someone's metabolism by cutting into the skin. You actually have to make a change that affects the cell. And that's what we're doing here. And again, we treat our patients like family, so there are other services in our clinic, whether it be massage or imbalanced chiropractic or functional medicine, that could also help be a great addendum to the overall goals you're seeking here. And next, we have booster programs for patients that maybe have fallen off the wagon or some that are just coming in for a tune-up every once or twice a year or so. So feel free and ask about that if that is needed. And this kind of gives you here an idea of what the science is behind the device, the joules, the wavelengths, all the science questions that people may ask as well. And again, here's some before and after pictures. A typical patient may get between 8 to 12 treatments for a full course of treatments. Again, this is 8 treatments right here. You're going to see below 2. So patients even with 2, so if you're coming in on some type of promotion, you're going to get results off the bat. And we tend to go over all of our programs with our patients and draw out a program so you can experience maximum results and keep that momentum rolling in your favor. Again, the first 1 to 2 weeks, we're really shifting the metabolism, trying to get the body to burn more fat for fuel. Weeks 3 to weeks 4, we're locking in the habits. Things are becoming easier. And the best results happen in a 4 to 8 week time frame, depending on how committed the person is. And you can see here, we see excellent results, toning around the tummy and the side here. The before and after picture part's pretty self-explanatory. The key things that we need to make sure our patients do is no eating 90 minutes before and after. And you can see about at least 100 ounces of water a day. It's really important. We're loading a lot of fat in the lymphatic system, so we want to make sure we do the vibration afterwards as much as possible and drink lots of clean fluid. So the first part is the food matrix. We're going to go over all the things you can eat. So again, we want to emphasize good proteins. We want to emphasize vegetables. We want to emphasize healthy fats, healthy herbs and spices as needed. So again, each meal, good solid proteins. Again, the starred food should be used sparingly. These are the starches. That includes fruits and starches. Again, the foods that are not starred can be consumed in unlimited quantities. It's important to note we really want to cut the carbs down as much as possible, especially in the first few weeks. If you're needing a little bit of carbohydrate or sugar, we want to make sure we're getting our carbs primarily from vegetables, but a little bit of low glycemic fruit such as berries could be okay after a workout or after a treatment, after the 90-minute time frame. Now again, if you are vegetarian or vegan, feel free and take a look at our vegan vegetarian food matrix that does have foods that may not be optimal, but they'll be a good substitute so you can get good success on the program. And we strongly recommend some type of protein powder substitute if you are vegan or vegetarian. This goes over our eating plan. So this essentially is telling us what not to do. And again, the whole philosophy, it's anti-inflammatory and low in toxin. Again, the first 1 to 2 weeks are the hardest because we are shifting the metabolism, so we want to keep that in mind. And we also want to know we want to keep our carbs down to 25 grams. Again, eating every 3 to 5 hours and making sure we eat breakfast. Really avoiding the artificial sweeteners like Splenda and aspartame. You may see it on the back as sucralose. These are metabolic poisons, so really be wary of them. Natural sweeteners like stevia, the sweet leaf versions, excellent. Typical sweet leaf products or stevia products actually contain maltodextrin, which is a corn sugar. I know you wouldn't think that, so you have to read the back of the label. We carry sweet leaf in the office store for your convenience. And again, avoid the most inflammatory foods. So if you saw the food matrix, you noticed it was missing some foods, and those foods would be grains, really cutting out the rice, the corn, the quinoa, the barley, the whole grains, breads, bagels, cereals, pastas, cookies, waffles, flour, cutting out the dairy. Now again, cutting out the yogurt, the cheese, the milk, and the half and half. Patients typically do okay on grass-fed butter, whether it be the Kerrygold brand you can get at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, and or unsweetened coconut or almond milk. We recommend for at least the first 2 to 4 weeks really cutting out the dairy and these allergens. Definitely for the first month if you really want to get the best results possible. Cutting out the legumes can be helpful, which are the beans, the soy, and the peanuts. Other nuts are okay. We want to make sure the food's as low in toxins as possible. That's why we recommend organic and free-range antibiotic-free foods. And again, really making sure you have protein, fat, and a non-starchy vegetable at every single meal. And again, there are some good apps out there like the Lose It app or the MyFitnessPal app, and we guarantee results on our full treatment programs with patients if they monitor it so we can hold them accountable. And again, if you have any questions at all, feel free and email me. Email me your food diary or share your nutrition program with me so I can take a look at it because we really want our patients to be successful. Couple of options here. Step one, really start your day with good hydration, good fluids. Again, we need that good clean water first thing in the morning and or 2 hours after a meal. Step two, 30 grams of protein in the first 30 minutes. This is really important to enhance metabolism. Again, we have some good breakfast, lunch, and dinner options, some really good on-the-go options. Take a look at these places. And if you're having a hard time getting a good protein in the morning, a good meal in the morning, we recommend a good shake and or a good bar. We carry some good brands that don't have all the carbohydrates and junk and artificial sweeteners. That could be a good alternative to make sure you get that 30 grams of protein first thing in the morning. Again, we have some Body Sculpt exercise programs. Take a look at Workout A and Workout B if you are familiar with them. Again, if you're someone that's trying to work on their posterior, we strongly recommend kettlebell swings. Very important to really help tighten the muscles. Remember in the first video we talked about how when those muscles are stronger, they pull on the fascia and pull it tight. This can be a great one for people that are working on the legs and or posterior area, especially cellulite. But take a look at these if you're familiar. If not, we recommend our Body Sculpt burst training. This is typically done on an elliptical, my favorite because it has the arms and the legs and it's pretty low impact. Also, you can go out and do it sprinting as well. Whatever is easiest for you. I like the elliptical because the arms and legs. It's obviously harder to do sprinting, so find out what's best for you. And if you're a beginner and maybe you have some pain or discomfort in your lower extremities, a recumbent bike or bike can be helpful all the way down to swimming as well. Typically, we're warming up for 3 minutes in the beginning. We're going all out as fast as we can for 30 seconds, maximal effort. We're recovering for 90 seconds. Again, we're going 30 on, 90 off, 8 times, and we're ending the workout with a 3-minute cool down. And again, if you don't have equipment and you just, are just at your house, you can do it via walking. Again, what you're going to see here is you just walk that 30-second exertion phase up a hill or an incline. That helps enhance the intensity. Then you can walk in a circle for 90 seconds and do it over again. The key concepts here is we are lowering cortisol. All right, typical aerobic exercise actually increases cortisol. This actually helps lower it. And again, we're helping to increase growth hormone, which is eating up fat and putting on muscle. And we're enhancing our metabolism for almost 2 days, which is really powerful. Some optional supplements that can be helpful. Apistacin is a really good one for patients with sweet cravings, but are also trying to boost their metabolism. Carnitine is excellent as well. We strongly recommend it for vegetarians because carnitine is primarily found in grass-fed meat and lamb, and it's the main amino acid combination that helps bring fat to the mitochondria to get burned. So this is a must if you are vegetarian. Craver-S is something we use for patients with very advanced sweet cravings. It helps provide certain amino acids to the brain to help boost up serotonin and dopamine naturally. We use collagen as a provider of raw material to really help with the skin elasticity for cellulite concerns. This aminophylum, it's a specific amino acid combination in a cream form. It's actually peer-reviewed by Loyola and Harvard to help increase fat burning. The nice thing about it is we can target specific areas, and it's an excellent synergistic compound to use with the Lipo-light. And a good metabolic cleanse can be used because we do know that fats or toxins are stored in the fat. So if we're having fat that's not burning, it's a little bit stubborn to burn, we tend to find there may be some toxins in there, and using some support to help release those toxins can be helpful. This is our Body Sculpt journal. Essentially, you put a C for keeping your carbs at 25 grams, an E for each time you exercise, and an S for supplements, an X if you didn't do it. Our ideal day should look just like this. And again, this is designed so we have a good big picture approach to see how you're doing, making sure you're on the right track. You can also use the Lose It app or the MyFitnessPal app as well. And this is your diet log, so we can see what you're eating throughout the day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, exercise, relaxation, hydration, and sleep. It gives us the ability to make sure we're really holding you accountable. And again, we guarantee our results on a full course of treatment if you're doing the diet journal and or body sculpt journal. Any questions? You have the members area to the site where the password is Renew, and you have my email address for having me look at any food diaries or any other questions that may come to mind. Feel free and call the office or let us know how we can help. Thanks. Have a great day.